Zoe and Rebecca. You
Hello, how are you?
good? You look so beautiful, so pretty.
Where Brooklyn at? Where Brooklyn at? Where Brooklyn at? Where Brooklyn at? We gonna do it like this.
Thank you, girl. You know, good makeup, good lighting. And my birthday's tomorrow. So I'm just
Happy birthday.
Thank
What you
you.
gonna do? What you gonna do for your birthday?
Well, I had a boat party yesterday. So I had a really good time until I started throwing up around 5 this morning.
Oh.
And then I was like, why did they let me take so many shots?
Because it's your birthday. You gotta turn up. That's the only way to do it. At least you got Liddy in the city like a titty.
Yeah, girl. Woo! I was there. But now I'm back and I'm ready to do it all again tomorrow.
Yes. So how old are you gonna be, if you don't mind?
Well, it's the anniversary of my 25th birthday.
I like that. That's the anniversary. Okay. All right. I love it. All right. So today we have Anna Rebecca, which is a beautiful name, who's your entertainer through and through. So can you tell us about how you first discovered can you tell us about first being discovered for music and the artist name that you use?
Okay. Yeah, so I'm originally from LA, and I was a part of a rap group called Kitty Kitty. So I don't know if you ever remember that song, Don't Drop That Dun, dun, dun. Yes. So they were the Fanatics, and they were the guy group to us. So we were the girl version out of Inglewood, and we would just perform in all the after hours and the clubs around LA. And eventually I was discovered by a woman on Facebook. And so she saw some videos and some of my Facebook posts, and she was like, I think you have a great look. I think you have a great sound. I would love to meet you. So she flew me to Atlanta and took me out to LA Reid's daughter's party. And I was a hit. You know, everybody, like, I just worked the room, and she was so impressed that she decided to invest in me and move me out to Atlanta and basically helped me get my career off the ground and get my foot in the game as far as music. And I went by Nyla the Vamp, which I don't it seems like a lifetime ago, but I had some good times. You couldn't tell me I wasn't next up.
So how was that experience? Like you said that, were you nervous the first time? Like, because going into a room with especially Mr. Reid, like
with big name people, oh my goodness.
What was your, like, how was that experience? Was it nerve-wracking? Were you?
Yes, I was very nervous. I was 24. Tell her my age now. So I was 24 and I was super nervous because I'd never been in a room with people like this before. And so there was a group of people that were smoking some weed outside. So I was like, well, let me just smoke some weed so I could relax. So when I came back in the room, I was like very quiet and to myself. And so my manager, because she became my manager, she was like, she grabbed me by my shirt collar and was like, what the hell is wrong with you? What did you do? Wake up. You need to be out here working this room. You need to perform. Snap out of it. Whatever you did, snap out of it. So I had to go and give myself a pep talk in the bathroom. I was like, all right, come on. So they were doing an open mic karaoke style. So when they asked for the next person to come up, I went up there and just freestyle. I just started freestyling over the music or whatever. And then afterwards, I was so nervous. I didn't even introduce myself. I didn't even say who I was. I just gave the mic back and walked off. So a lot of people started coming up to me like, who are you? Where did you come from? Like, what are you doing out here? So it was a really good experience.
Which artists do you listen to at the moment? And who are your favorite artists of all? Who are some of your favorites? Like, give me like 2 or 3.
Yeah, so as far as music goes, if I had to name artists, like I really love Janae Aiko. Like we're from the same neighborhood, and I really like R&B, feel good music. But lately, I find myself listening to a lot of music that doesn't have lyrics. So like I find myself actually listening to like drum circle music or jazz music, even classical music, just because a lot of music just doesn't have a good message in it these days. And I really am trying to like be entertained, but not be thinking like I'm a thug, I'm a bitch, I'm a fuck your nigga. You know, like I just want to hear the music, but not hear the message at this point.
If you had to collaborate, if you had a chance to collaborate with an artist, whether they are dead or alive, who would you collaborate with and why?
Oh man, I mean, okay, I'm not gonna say that, but I would love to work with you know what? I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm so far detached from my music career. When I was younger, I invested a lot of money in my career, but I just came across a lot of people who they don't care if you're talented or not. Oh, you're inspired, you're ambitious, you're young, you're green, you don't know anything. Come here and let me siphon all your energy, all your money, let me use you up and never really give you anything for it. So it's just like it was times where I was crying, thinking, "Oh, I'm about to get my big break," and they're like, "No, dummy, you're just gonna break your pocket." You know, so that's why I got out of the music game because it's not really regulated, you know, and it really was killing my passion. And honestly, every cent that I was making, I was putting into music videos, having the press at my photo shoot, or you know, having a dinner for press, and it was just like I was spending everything, and it just ran me ragged. So I don't think that I will ever really see myself making music again like that with passion. So I really can't answer that question because I'm just so detached from that world right now.
And that tends to sometimes when, you know, you become uninspired to do certain things, because when you go through things in the industry, it tends to take a toll on you. At first, you know, they say as Black women, we're supposed to be strong, but how much can you really take? Like, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, if you're investing and you're not seeing nothing on the back end, what's the point, right? And if you're not happy, there's no point of doing it.
Yeah. And then especially when people try to use relationships to use you. So it's like you're thinking, oh, this might be my friend. And then the next thing you know, they behind your back talking shit about you. Or like the woman, I ended up getting someone else to manage me down the road because the lady who brought me to Atlanta took me as far as she could. And so she's like, all right, what? And so I linked up with this other woman, and eventually I had people calling me and telling me, stop letting this lady book your stuff because I'm calling to work with you, and she's referring other artists. Yeah, telling me like, well, have you heard? Telling the people, have you heard of this person? Have you heard of that person? Because she had other artists that was paying her more, so she had to give them something. So now you taking money off of my plate, you know, taking food off of my plate to. Yeah. And so after that, I just felt so betrayed. It just knocked the wind out of me, you know? So
once you take bread off of my plate, it's over. It's over
basically,
after that.
Basically, because what are we doing? What are we really doing? And you know what's cold is like she was a publicist too. So let me tell you, I was around people from the Real Housewives of Atlanta. I'm hanging with people from the Love and Hip Hop cast. I'm with the fourth Destiny Child. Remember that got kicked off? Like I'm here hobnobbing with all these people while I'm working with her. And then the second I had got fired her, and I thought I developed all these relationships, and pretty much people was just like, well, who are you? Have I met you before? It was no more grand openings, no more fashion shows, no more premieres, nothing. You know, it was like, well, damn, you know, I feel like in a little bit of a way, I kind of got blackballed a little bit because I wasn't allowing somebody to take advantage of me anymore. And then I was like, well, shit, what was I really doing all this time? Excuse my language.
Okay,
I'm a cusser.
Worldwide Entertainment TV, baby. We allow you to express yourself any way, shape, or form. It's a non-judgmental platform, so don't worry about it, baby. So my third question for you is, you were a part of the iconic Miss Aretha Franklin's biopic called Respect.
Yes.
And Jennifer Hudson. How was that experience, and what was your part in the film?
Well, I was a part of the film doing background, which I am not scared to say. You know, I worked my way up because I really was just trying to get my foot in the door so I could meet people and see where to go. So I was honored to share a space with Jennifer Hudson for 16 hours of her singing her heart out. Like, I have so much respect for Jennifer Hudson from her performance, because we did 6 takes of a song and at a funeral, and she's crying and singing and giving her everything. And when she was around, she was pleasant. It was always, hello, thank you for working. Thank you guys for being here. She came down and sat with us and talked with us. And I recently discovered why she was like that, and why a lot of Black women have to be that way on set. Because if you're anything short of, hi, nice to meet you, I'm so thankful for you to be here, you become difficult. You become that hard person to work with. And it's really hard, as I'm learning more as a Black woman without representation. It's really hard to speak up for yourself without people trying to make you look like you're so difficult and hard to work with. So that's something that I remember distinctly, and now I see why, and it's something I'm actually going to start applying to my own career when I'm on set.
That's amazing. So how was that? So even though you were in the background, that still is a major thing. Like, a lot of people can't even get background gigs. Like, it's hard to even get that, because I would have flipped out, like Aretha Franklin, Jennifer Hudson.
Yeah, at first, well, the cool thing about it was that I was in the scene with Mary J. Blige. And so, look, let me tell you something. I get it, right? They come and they're like, okay, we're gonna take you, and you. Come on. So we go, and they put me in this like side area or whatever. And so I'm like, dang, I can't see none of the cast. I'm not around nobody. Nobody's gonna see me on this damn scene. Like, I was low key kind of funky about it. Like, hey, ain't nobody gonna see me. And so then they said, you know what? You follow me. So they take me to this room, to another room, and another room. And I'm like, man, ain't nobody back here. But as soon as we hit the corner, I see Heather Headley and Mary J. Blige. And so I'm sitting there like, and I'm like, so they're like, we're gonna have you sit down on the ground and look up to her like you're just fascinated in what she's saying. So I'm looking at her like,
in real life, I'm fascinated. So yes, that's real expression
Mary,
right there.
Yeah, Mary looking back at me like, and so I was just like, hi. And she's like, hello. And I was like, I'm so honored. But then after that, I was like, okay, cool. And then after that, like, she didn't even go back to holding or anything. She stayed on set. And so I was talking to her like I'm talking to you right now. Everybody else in the room was looking at me like I was crazy, but I was talking to Mary J. Blige and Heather Headley like we were all homegirls. And so when we wrapped, the director came over and was like, well, how did you enjoy your time on set? And she said, you know what? I really liked being here, but my best part was being in this room right here. So she came up to, it was like 5 of us back there, and she gave us all hugs and shook our hands and was like, it's very nice to meet you. And so when she shook my hand, I grabbed her hand. I was like, my name is Anna, and I'm going to see you again. And she was like, okay, Anna, okay. So I'm determined to stand by
I love that. Oh my God, you're so lucky.
I felt so blessed. You know, it was just to be with somebody that is so important as far as like popular culture goes in our community. Is just doing background work. It put me in a room with people that I never imagined I could be with. And then I started doing stand-in work from there, where now I'm standing in for people who look like me. You look like me, you got my hair color, my skin color. So then I'm thinking like, well, why can't that be me?
Mm-hmm.
That can be me.
Yes,
that could be me. That's gonna be me, you know?
Manifestation. That's what it's about. Manifest it, baby, and it shall come to you. So before the music, you were doing acting gigs as a kid. Can you tell us about some of the national commercials that you were a part of, and how was that experience?
When I was a little girl, I just remember my mom and my dad and my sister taking me to different auditions, and I remember looking over scripts and sides and stuff like that. But it was really just like child's play on camera. So I did like a Barbie commercial. I've done Apple Jacks, Granny Smith Apple campaign. You know, these are national commercials, Tylenol commercials, and all kind of stuff like that. And then I remember when I was in school and I tried, because my mom used to tell them I had to go to the doctor, you know, like, oh, she has a doctor's appointment. But really, I'm going on set and shooting these commercials and stuff. So I come to school and so I'm telling everybody, like, I'm an actor. I'm on TV. And everybody thought I was lying. They was like, you're a liar. And they bullied me. And I remember one time it was almost like a whole mob of kids trying to beat me up because I was telling them that I was going to be on TV. And they were like, no, you weren't. No, you weren't. You was at the doctor. Like, they're following me now. And they're all like, oh my God, you're doing it. Yeah, like just like I was in 5th grade.
But y'all didn't believe me.
Right. Because I'm a kid. What am I lying for?
That's a fact. Like, what do I have to lie to y'all for? Really? Like, we're in like the 5th grade. What am I getting from that?
Yeah. So yeah, my almost claim to fame story is that I auditioned for Matilda as a little girl.
Matilda?
Matilda with
Matilda.
Yes. Matilda. I even met Danny DeVito. I remember meeting him and my mom trying to tell me, like, tell him you like that movie, Throw Mama from the Train or something like that. And I just remember I was one of the final kids. When I was little, I looked like a little white girl, very long hair, light skin and stuff like that. But I auditioned for 3 different roles in that movie. And then I also auditioned for the role that Raven Simone had on the Cosby's for a living. And I have those sides. I still have those sides. I remember my parents were really on me, like, you need to learn this right here. And I didn't understand the importance of it as a little girl. But now as I'm older, I'm like, that could have been, you know,
you could have been doing that.
Right.
You could have been doing that.
It could have been That's So Anna.
Exactly. Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's
so it just naturally. Yeah, so getting back into it, I just feel like I'm really doing what my parents saw for me. And you know, who knows you better than your parents, you know?
That's a fact. Oh my God. Matilda, Miss Trunchbull. Oh my God.
Yes.
You would have had to deal with Miss Trunchbull? Oh no.
Yeah, so I auditioned for the lead role, then for the role of the little girl that got swung over the thing with her ponytails, Amanda, when she like swung her by her ponytails over the fence, and then the little black girl,
Lavender, which is her best friend.
Yes,
the
one that put that role.
The one that put the newt in the water.
In the water, yeah. My mom, she even bought me some little fake glasses for the audition and everything. I remember all that stuff, man.
That's so amazing. So since we're talking about movies and things that you have accomplished so far, you've been quite busy since you moved to Atlanta. You've been working on some big gigs such as Tyler Perry Studios, which I passed by, never got to see it, but when I came to Atlanta, I got to pass by it. What was it like working in that type of environment with somebody like
Mr. Perry?
Yes!
When I got the job to work there, he became Mr. Perry. He was no longer Tyler, you know. He became Mr. Perry. And I had a newfound respect. I worked with him during quarantine and during the height of COVID, where he had the people live on the studio campus. So I was able to actually live at Tyler Perry Studios for 12 days while we shot a whole season of Sisters. And so it was he's not traditional with his shooting. He's very much like 1-2 shots and go. He'll even produce a scene right there on set and be like, you say this, you say that, you say this, you say that. And then boom, he just created a whole new scene. And so I was very amazed at how talented he is and his vision, and how like one man ended up having all of this. And he had bikes there. So
sorry,
when we were no, you're fine. When we had off days, we were able to ride a bike around the property. He has 300 acres. So he has a golf course there. He has a mock airport. He has a whole mock town. He has another mock neighborhood. When I was there, he was building up a hotel. And then it was at least like 400 or 500 people there. So I'm just thinking, like, it's one man who has, off of his dream and his ambition, have created something that's feeding all these Black people, you know? And just to see the way that the people work with him, and the people who've been working with Mr. Perry have been there for years. You know, he's still got people with him that have been there from the beginning. And so it was very inspiring, because it showed me where one dream could take you, you know?
So how did you get, how did that come about to work with Mr. Perry? Because he's very, I would say he's kind of hard to get a hold of. Like, the last person that I know got a job from him was the girl that put her face on the billboard.
Yes.
To let it be known that
she actually booked the job before he saw the billboard.
Oh, for real?
Yes. And so that's what a lot of people don't know, is that she did end up working with him, but she booked the job before she even got the billboard. And it's not that hard. People think it's hard. It's not. There's a website called Actors Access, accessing Mr. Perry's productions. And so a lot of people think it's hard. It's really not. There's a website called Actors Access, where you can pay for a membership for a year, which is about $69 for a year. And his casting director is Raven Drummer. And if you go on there, you will see that they post a lot on there. And then if you want to get your foot in the door and doing background stuff or standing work, the casting director is Clive. And that's Cab Castings, that does a lot of Mr. Perry's background. And it's easier to do background as long as you just fit the type. But I submitted myself, but I know that there's room for improvement on my end. So I know a couple people who've actually got booked. And one thing about working with Mr. Perry is that if you do book background work, there is a good possible chance that you can move up. That he'll look at you and say, you know what? We're gonna give you a line. It happens. When I was at Camp Q, that's what they called it, there were 4 people who got bumped up to lines or bigger feature spots. And so it's more likely for something like that to happen on one of his sets than on a more traditional set, like if you were to be doing background work on Marvel or The Resident or even The Walking Dead. Those are shows that are just known for shooting out here.
Oh, it says you recently appeared on Fatal Attraction on TV1. Could you describe what your role was like on that show?
Yeah, I like working with Fatal Attraction. They shoot up in Tennessee, and basically the main way to book a role with them is to look the part. So you can find their work on Facebook under Hive Casting. Anyone can do it. You can be the victim, you can be the suspect, you can be the police, as long as you basically look like the people who the story's about. I really liked it. I've worked with them during quarantine, where basically you had to be local and stay in your car during scenes or stuff. And then I was fortunate enough to work with them again, where this time they paid for me to come out and put me up in a hotel room. And it was a much, more lavish experience, made me feel like a star. But I enjoyed it. The first time I was on there, I got hit by a car and ran over. But because it was COVID, the character had a friend with her in the scene. So they asked me if I knew anybody. So I was able to bring one of my best friends with me, who's a country music artist and aspiring actor. Her name is Lynn. And we're also doing this movie together, this series that we're working on. So I really like being able to do a scene with my best friend. And after I got ran over by the car, she's all crying like, oh my God. So I was the character, and when they called Ted, I looked at like, bitch, you really love me, huh?
Like in real life, you love me. Like,
yeah, I was like, in real life, like, you really love me. I fuck with you. But it was cool. The second time I got strangled and pistol whipped and set on fire. And for me, it was a little bit of a different experience, because when we were shooting, I didn't realize he was actually going to have to grab me up And I had one period in my life where I was in a relationship with a dude who thought he was about to start beating my ass for some reason. And so when that happened and he grabbed me, it just gave me like PTSD, and I kind of went somewhere else. And then I remember like, oh, we're on set. So I just kind of like fell to the ground, like I'm dead. And so when they called cut, they're like, well, if someone's getting strangled and pistol whipped, you're supposed to like scream and be like, no, stop. And you kind of just fell to the ground. And so when I explained to them what happened, I really love the fact that they respected that. And they were like, well, okay, well, let's take our time. And I feel like, they made me feel comfortable and allowed me to be vulnerable and then able to really deliver what they wanted to get out of me. And so I had a great experience, and I recommend anybody who is looking to try to make a name for themselves, get some good footage, to submit,
That's so cool. Like, you did so much cool stuff. Like, you're like my best in like a different life. Like, I swear to God, like I'm living vicariously through you, just listening to your stories and just hearing how inspired you were, and the fact that you never gave up from, one career to the next. Like you said, okay, one door closed, another one opened for you, which was acting, which is something that you've been doing from you were a child, right? A kid.
Yeah.
So a lot of people would have said, you know what, I've been doing this for years. I don't want to do background anymore. I don't want to do stand-ins. I want to be the main. And a lot of people would have gave up. But the fact that you kept going, that's an inspiration to a lot of young girls, to show them like, it doesn't matter if one door closes on you, or, God bless you with two different talents, with acting and singing, but you can be in the entertainment business if you want to. And that's a good thing. You dropped one and you picked up the other, and you're really good at both, but you're excelling at acting, and I love it. I would have loved to see you as Matilda, because I would have bragged everybody.
That would be so cool, right?
I did an interview with Matilda. How about that?
But it's okay, because that was the past. Like, it's my future. So you still got to interview me, because I'm about to be so fucking dope. Like, I love being an inspiration. And one thing, like, if you follow me on Facebook or even follow me on Instagram, I share rejection letters, which is actually things people don't get in this industry. People don't say you don't have the job. You just see the role on TV and be like, damn, I guess I didn't get it. But I try to be honest about the things that I have been through, because it's a lot of work, but it's realistic. And I'm a truly believer that in this world, you are the creator of your story. If you don't like what you're doing and you're not passionate about it, and it's not serving you spiritually, you can change that. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but you have the control. And especially if you are somebody that's here in Atlanta, there is more than ample opportunity to get into this industry if that's what you want to do. And this is the time. If you have a script, write it. You got a story, tell it. You want to be in front of the camera, get in front of the camera. You want to pick the camera up, shoot with it, but do it. Stop just dreaming about it, because it's realistic,
I like that, because we'll talk about that after, when we get into the nitty. Let's go in. So my next question for you is, your acting is diverse, as you also play a dirty cop on a show. So goddamn, I like this. Like, you play different men roles. So can you tell us more about that role, and how comfortable? Because, like, obviously with police brutality, all that type of stuff, some people will say, no, I'm not playing that role at all. I don't want to be known that you know what I mean? I support them.
No.
So how was it doing that role, and how did you prepare for it?
Well, a lot of people, I have a type of personality. My friend told me I'm like pickles. Either you like it or you don't like it, And so a lot of people at first, before they know me, they think I'm like this rude, stuck up bitch. Oh, she's one of those pretty mean girls. And I'm really not. I just be minding my own business, thinking about what I'm going to eat later. But I really try to like tap into that. Like, people think I'm a bitch. Let me just tap into this and have fun. And I get booked as a cop a lot. Like my first 3 roles was me being a detective or playing a police officer, and it's always like the bitch, the mean officer, the one that got to get everybody in check. So I definitely would never be a cop in real life. And given our relationship, when I say our, I mean our community's relationship with law enforcement, I'm really not even comfortable around police. But one thing I am comfortable with is being in front of the camera, taking on a different role. And that's what I love about acting, is that I can do things that I would never do. I could play a doctor. I could play a surgeon. I could play a police officer. I could play a lawyer. I could play a rich wife getting cheated on, like I love it. Oh, you're on mute. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. I'm here talking away. No, I was saying, like, when it comes to roles like that, right? I don't know if it's because I watch too much police movies and stuff like that, and documentaries and stuff like that. When it comes to that, how often do you have to rehearse? Because I know they have to teach you how to hold the gun properly, how to enter rooms, all that. Did you have to go through that, or was it more of a?
Well, actually, it depends on what the scene is called for, because in this because I've been booked on so many, but in none of these am I doing like, busting in the room and having to check or anything like that. I'm usually get booked as like a captain or a superior. So I'm basically just the person telling people what to do and stuff. But because I've done background work where I was able to work on Black Lightning and play the security, or on MacGyver playing the security, when you're doing that kind of stuff in background, they give you the training and show you how to properly hold the gun, how to properly handle weapons. Don't put your finger on the trigger. Keep it straight alongside of the gun. Don't ever hold it up and point it at anybody directly. Always keep your gun pointed down. So that's why I always encourage people that are getting into acting, get into background work. Try it, because it's a place where you can learn and you can get paid to be there. It's not a lot, and they kind of treat you not the best, but you can learn a lot.
You did. You learned a whole lot, and you up that food chain, girl. So that's a good thing. So when it comes to what do you consider your top 5 actors of all time, and why?
Oh my goodness. Viola Davis is one of the first ones that popped into my mind. I worked on Lila and Eve with Viola Davis and Jennifer Lopez, and that was back when I was doing music, and I didn't know it was background work. I had somebody that was managing me, and they was pretending like they was getting me jobs. And so I'm so happy to be on this set, and I'm like, oh, I'm doing all this stuff. And you done found this shit on Facebook? You telling me you found this on Facebook and I could have found this for myself? But working with Viola Davis on this movie, she was so humble. She asked me, oh, can I put my hand on your shoulder, put my shoe on? I'm like, yeah, no problem. And so then I told her, just joking around, I'm like, I'm never going to wash this shoulder again. And she's like, please watch it. Please wash it immediately. But it's just so cool to have been in such close proximity with somebody, and then to see her go on to do the great things that she does, it's inspiring. I like seeing people like Tessa Thompson, Janelle Monáe. I'm a big fan of Janelle Monáe. I love that she's a music artist, but I also like that the roles that she takes are in movies that have a positive message, and like, I'm just a big fan. Hey, Janelle girl.
Yeah, she's I love her.
Yeah. Yeah.
I loved her from High or Low.
Okay.
The tightrope. I grew up
on the tightrope. Yes, I love Janelle. I got a chance to see her in like a small private concert once, and it was so dope. Like, I was just like, bro, you're freaking like James Brown out here.
She looks like she's like a vibe. Like, she looks like she's very humble, very chill, very calm, cool, and collective. From what
in my head, I have celebrity friends already, and these are the people that I'm going to kick it with when I'm like in that circle. And she's definitely going to be one of my close friends. Like, I just already imagine us hanging out and stuff.
You guys are both a vibe, so I can see that happening. As long, like I said, manifestation is the big thing. So manifest shall happen. So my next question for you is, which actors do you believe new aspiring actors should study, and why?
So for me, it's a little controversial because I don't really study anybody. I take classes and I tap in. I take classes with Javon Johnson. This is the plug because his class is very unorthodox. And he says he doesn't teach people how to act, he teaches actors how to live. And one thing that he does, he teaches you how to put your emotion into your work, how to take a part of you and apply it to whatever it is that's in the script or that the role requires, so that it's not even work. You just turning on a different switch inside of you and saying, okay, I'm gonna let her come out and play today. And for me, I've always been the type of person to never really want to study anybody too much because I don't want to be like them. I want to be like me. And so, like, I love movies, but I don't really watch movies twice. And people would think that's crazy. When I was making music before and making rap music, I didn't listen to rap music. It's something that's in me that I don't need to really see in other people to tap into. I just know that I just got to do the work for myself. So I would say, instead of trying to study somebody and be like somebody else, study yourself. Learn to let those walls down, those emotional barriers, because as a human, from the time you're a child to you grow up, people are telling you, don't be like that, don't do this, don't say that. And then they end up shaping who you are. But when it's coming to a scene where you have been raped, you have to murder somebody, you are the rapist. How do you tap into those type of things when you've been conditioned to know, like, this is wrong? So there's people who can't even do certain things because they have so many walls up stopping them from even tapping into being sad. In class, we were doing a scene or a emotion where you bring this emotion forward, and it was anger. And a woman said, well, I don't get angry. You got to get angry about something, but she's an older woman, and then she's taught you can't show your anger. So it's not that she doesn't get angry, but she has put a wall up that's so thick and so tall between her and allowing her to really tap into her emotions and to say, this is what pisses me off. Matter of fact, I hate when he does this. I hate when she does that, and all this stuff, because she's been conditioned to have to accept things and just maneuver like around other people. So I really think in order to become the best actor you can be, you really have to go inside, not outside. You're on mute again.
My house is just loud for no reason, so I gotta mute. But I gotta remember that I'm on mute. No, but I'm saying that's dope. That's a good way to look at it. And I would love to be in classes like that. Like I don't want to, like I say it all the time. Like, you're one in a million. Like, I'm one in a million. I don't want to be like nobody else. I don't want to wake up and have nobody say, oh, that person's just like, no, I'm myself. Because every person brings their own personality and own style and own everything to a role. Like, Halle Berry is not going to be the same as Jennifer Lopez when they act. They're totally two different people. You understand what I mean? Like, each person brings their own style and personality and into a role. So you mimicking or you trying to be somebody else, like be exactly like that person, 9 out of 10 times it will never work. I've heard Denzel, when you come into a role, you need to be yourself and come in with an energy. Yeah, you may be standing across from Denzel Washington, but
and then you never know. Yeah, and then also you just never know how somebody got to where they are. I mean, it could have been, hey, I took my friend to this audition and they saw me and said, hey, you should try out for this. And next thing you know, I booked this big role that changed my life. Or it could be, I've been preparing for this my whole life and I've been working at it and taking all the acting classes and going to all of the seminars and doing everything I need to do. Or you could have somebody who said, well, I was just on TikTok making videos, because I stood in for a girl, Annalise Velez, and I love her. I was very inspired watching her on set. She's number 4 on the call sheet for the game, but they found her on TikTok. she was on TikTok, and the casting director, the director said, "Hey, when I found her on social media." So it's like you never really know when is your time. You never really know what's gonna make the difference, and you can look at somebody else and see them successful, but just because you take all the steps that I did doesn't mean that that's what's gonna work for you. You know?
So I see that you work with a lot of you worked with Tyler Perry. You've been booked and busy doing Tylenol commercials, all sorts of wonderful things. But now I see that you are working with Blue Gold Productions on a project. Could you tell us how that came about?
Yeah. Actually, somebody sent me a flyer on Facebook because I'm at a place now where a lot of people really like, I feel like they believe in me. So people send me roles and stuff all the time. And so when I saw it, I said, all right, I just submit for it because you never know what something can be. And I sent it to like 40 different actors. And so after I sent my information in, and then we decided to do the interview and the audition, and they sent me the sides and told me to have a monologue prepared. And so I knew, like, they didn't tell me to have the sides prepared, but I was like, I'm gonna make sure I know it and I kill it, because I want to be set apart because I'm really trying to make a name for myself. And so I didn't even know at the time if it was a paid job. I didn't know who this, them from what or whatever. But I'm just glad that I gave it a chance, because even just being in new relationship with these people that I'm learning, I've been put on game and learning how to make money other ways. And I could just tell that you run into some people in this industry and they're very selfish. They only think about themselves and what they got to do to make it to the next level. And then you run into people who understand that it takes all of us to make it work. And they want to share knowledge with you. They want you to be your best self and to make it as far as you can go, because that's a reflection of them, And so I feel like I'm blessed for this opportunity. I was able to be booked for a lead role in this series, and I cannot wait to bring Emily to life. I can't wait to put my stamp on it, because I really feel like this is an opportunity that is going to help me take my career to the next level.
So you said you're excited about playing the lead role and stuff like that. I know when it comes to projects and you're working on it, you have to be tight-lipped with it, can't really expose too much and stuff of that nature. So I don't want you to do that. But can you tell us if you and your character kind of have any sort of similarities in any type of way, or is this a character that you, when we see it, it's just like, okay, hell no, that's not me, not even in real life, nope, not at all?
Yeah, no, Emily is not me at all. Maybe so when I had to audition, the scene was it was a scene of her where she had to confront somebody who was sleeping with her husband. And when I read it, it was a crazy scene. And then it took me right back to a class I had where I had a scene that I had to do, and the girl was in therapy, and the girl was crazy. Like, her husband was driving her crazy. And so I specifically remember the lesson where they were like, be happy, then and switch it. And so they taught me what to do, and I applied it to this, and it just fits so good. And it made me feel like I can just have so much fun with Emily, because it's a world that, she's married to a rich man. She's a powerful woman. She has daughters. I have a little boy. But she's ambitious. So there are some characteristics like that we have in common. But as far as who she is and the life that she's living, to me, I could never imagine it, but I definitely know I have what it takes to bring it to life. And I know that I'm gonna have a lot of fun with it.
That's good, because I love seeing roles like that. Like, for instance, Cookie. Anytime you hear Cookie, like, that's me. Like, when I look at Cookie, me, that's definitely. So it's like, I feel like nowadays, young women, we want someone to look up to look at a screen and be like, I'm a Tasha Mack from the game, or
Yes.
I'm a this or I'm a that. Like I feel sometimes when I do, you could ask Kevin. I always say I'm gonna put my Tasha Mack hat on because when it's time to be serious, Tasha Mack, she gets the job done. So it's just like, you know, having roles that you can relate to in some ways, I feel like it makes it a little bit easier, especially if you've been through certain experiences. To me personally, I feel like does that work for you too? Sometimes when, like you said, you were put in a situation where it's like it brought you back to somewhere. So now you're able to take that character and, you know, do what you want with the character. Is that how it works? Or in this
Well,
one, are you allowed to take her and her up? Or
for me, I love how powerful Emily is. I love the story behind her and who she's trying to be in this. And I feel like throughout my life, I have been fighting for respect. I have been fighting to say, God damn it, I'm here. I am somebody. I am worth being loved. I am worth being respected. I want you motherfuckers to look at me and see somebody and be like, damn, now that's somebody right there. You know? And so for me, I feel like I have an opportunity to do this. And it's funny that you referenced Cookie because it's the first thing that I thought about it. And after my audition, I believe the quote was, the cookie will crumble. So that's something that stuck with me. And I'm really excited about it. You know, I'm tired of playing dirty cops and being that, you know, I can be a boss bitch in a different way. And I think some people are going to love Emily. Some people are going to hate Emily, but everybody's going to be watching for Emily when it's her scene.
I love it. Just please, if you're going to bring the energy, as long as you bring the energy, like I said, I am always intrigued, like always. So before we go, I have two more questions for you before you go.
Okay.
So the second to last question is, what has been the best advice you've been given so far about the entertainment business?
Read your paperwork. Read your contracts. Have somebody look over it. If you don't understand it, do not sign it until you have somebody explain it to you. There's things out there like a sunset clause, which means that I get a percentage off of every dollar you make, and not just now, but once we stop working together, my percentage decreases over the next 10 years. So for the next 10 years after working with you, I'm still making money off of you. You know, there's paperwork out there that says you can be a part of this, but if you fuck it up in any way, you got to pay me 10 times what I would have paid you. It's just certain things that you just need to be aware of. And I think that sometimes people jump on opportunities and think like, oh, this is my big break, I'm going to make it. And they don't make sure that everything is everything. And I've been a victim of that myself. And so to me, the most important thing is like, protect yourself. Find an entertainment attorney. Find somebody who can explain to you what you're signing before you sign it.
Facts. I love that. So before I get into, you know, your handles, all of that, let us know a little bit more about what you're going to do. You spoke a little bit about TikTok and saying that with social media being such a heavy player in the game right now and things of that nature, do you believe that social media, if social media was as big when you were younger, do you think that things may have went in a different direction opposed to now? Or do you feel like now social media is basically helping you better than it has?
Well, I wish there was social media so I could go see those commercials and all the stuff I did, because I don't have any of that stuff, you know? But I feel like when I stopped acting and stuff, it's because I told my parents I didn't want to do it anymore. And they're like, okay. And I was like, damn, why y'all couldn't be like Michael Jackson daddy and beat me and make me do it? Look. But I think that social media is very impactful. I think that, you know, I just recently started getting paid on Instagram to make reels. And thank God it's not for the likes, it's for the plays. So I get paid every time somebody watches one of my reels. And that's the extra. I only managed to make like $100 a month off of it, but that's $100 that I'm making, and I was going to be making reels anyway, you know? So instead of being ignorant, I think it's really important to learn. Don't be afraid to evolve. Don't be afraid to educate yourself. If there's something else popping off, a new YouTube, a new TikTok, or whatever, you should jump on it, because you never know what it is that's going to be the next big thing. And you want to be there when it's breaking ground, so that way you can build up your followers and all that stuff, because all of these things are leading to avenues to make money, you know? And I don't know. If social media was around when I was younger, I probably would have had less of an opportunity, because I'm a rebel. I say what I want, and I was a little disrespectful when I was younger. So people would have been like, "Hell no, this girl a red flag. Let's keep it going, y'all. Keep it going."
That's me now. Like me, like sometimes I feel sorry for Kevin. Like sometimes I'll be sending him videos, reaction videos and stuff, and I just have to apologize. I'm my bad. I apologize. Like filter me. I just speak my mind. It is what it is, and yeah. So I'm crazy, but what, like myself, I love acting. I love hosting. I love being in the entertainment industry as well. What advice would you have for people like myself who are trying to get into the entertainment business, or young women that inspire to be in the entertainment business?
Okay. One thing that I have learned, and it's something that my mom has told me all my life as a little girl, that she's looking down on us now. The bug. Okay. But it is that you can catch more flies with honey than with shit. So it's going to be times where you feel disrespected. It's going to be times where you're going to want to be like, motherfucker, who the fuck do you think you are talking to? But before you do that shit, just think about it. Is it worth it? Because it's so quick for somebody to be like, nah, don't fuck with her. And I'm sure you've seen in your own personal life where somebody might not like you because of you reacted to some shit they did to you. And they got the nerve to be mad, and now they telling everybody don't fuck with you. And so it's a fine line between the truth and what people believe is the truth. And you just don't want to get a reputation where nobody want to work with you. And I know, like, this is what I'm learning myself, and it's hard. And for me, I've had to be tough because of my circumstances. So there was a time where I was very naive and gullible, and people could tell me whatever. But as I kept taking losses and having to learn lessons, I had really toughened up. So I don't have anybody that I could go to and say, hey, can you make this happen? And it happens. But as my career is developing, I can no longer handle my own issues. I can't be like, excuse me, please don't record me. That makes me uncomfortable. I got to go to the first AD hear somebody like that and say, hey, that person's recording me. It's making me uncomfortable. Can you please go over there and say something? You know, because at the end of the day, this is my brand now. This is it's my character, and it's something that I really got to work on. But it's just like, just pay attention. Everybody that's smiling in your face, not your friend. A lot of people, they not going to like you, and they'll be jealous of you for doing some shit that they would never even do. You're like, how you mad at me? You would never even be in the position that I'm in. So don't take none of it personal. And before you get emotional, just think about what the real consequences are, and always think, what is the worst thing that could happen right now? You know, and then just assume that that'll happen, and realize that it's just not that serious. When you're on set, there's people walking around with earpieces in that's getting yelled at all day by other people. You know, you got people that's broke, sleeping in their cars, don't know how they're going to feed themselves or whatever. You never know what other people have going on. So when you run across somebody that you feel maybe have disrespected you or talk to you in a manner that you're not comfortable with, all you got to do is just let that shit roll off, because you're not there for none of that. You're there to deliver your lines or do whatever your job is, and you get to go home. and leave that shit at work, because I guarantee you nobody is going home and thinking about you. So if you want to keep your mental health and you want to be in the right mind and stay passionate about what you're doing, you can't take nothing that anybody says to you personal, and you just can't overreact, and you just got to realize, look, this is the industry I'm in, and just think of it like another role. This was my therapist, because I'm in therapy, and she told me today, she said, when you're on set, you got to think about, even when you're on set, that's a role. Before the cameras even start, you're already playing a role. And that's what we got to do.
You're so inspiring. Oh my God. Thank you. I just love you, man. I wish I could put you in my pocket and just like I have a friend. Are you guys dumb? I have a friend that worked at Terry Studios. Are you dumb? That's crazy. So before we go, what is one thing that you can tell us about you that maybe others wouldn't know? Like one thing, like something that you like. No, like a habit that you have right before you start. You go in, you know, some people have, like Mariah Carey, she needs to have her M&Ms. You have to sort them out before she goes on stage. She has to have. So what do you need? What is your preparation package when it's time for you to go on set and do your thing?
Honestly, I'm prepared before I ever get to the location. For me, it's not any kind of candy or any kind of chair or anything that will make me ready to go. I'm being paid to do a job, and I am motivated by arriving and doing my job excellently. And when I walk away, everybody like, God damn, she just killed that shit. Just for me, it's just, I gotta pray. I gotta pray, and I pray to God and my ancestors and everybody that made sacrifices for me to be right here, right now. And once I'm prayed up, I'm good to go.
Yes, God comes first, baby. God comes first. So before we go, where can people follow you and keep update with your latest projects?
Okay. Well, if you follow me on Instagram, that's very like business forward. It's beautiful letters MFN Anna. Okay. And that's also my TikTok. So that's beautiful MF and Anna. I'm not really on TikTok. I just got one because I'm supposed to. Now my Facebook is a little different. I like to write stories, and they're heavily written about my dating life. And if you're dating in Atlanta, you might want to tune in, because I done ran across 3 married men and I expose all that stuff. So my Facebook is Anna Rebecca Lankford. Now, if you don't want to hear about my dating life and you wondering why this girl keep talking about guys, do not come here, because I will block you. I don't want to hear you talking about anything negative. It's only for people who agree with me. If you don't agree, just don't even visit us, okay?
It's great. I'm actually talking to somebody in Atlanta right now. So, girl, maybe I need to read your book, maybe.
Yes, I know. I'm a huge fan of posting whoever I'm dating. You see girls posting the guy with the emoji over his face. No, fuck that. I'm posting him, his name, and his job, because I need to know, is he married?
Exactly. See
Who
him walk
is this
there.
man?
Walk clear, sweethearts. I'm posting him not just to post him to let you guys know this is mine. Yes. This is mine. But also
the last 3 guys that I was dating, and it's cold because I told them, I said, I could post you on my social media. They're like, yeah, go ahead. And boom, soon as I post them, within 48 hours, if it takes that long, I got a wife or a girlfriend in my DMs. Like, how do you know my husband?
I would have said Charles, baby. I know from Captain Broyles, baby.
Bruh, I just be like,
know me.
I be trying to tell her, like,
Charles.
Girl, let's both leave him and we gonna run away together, okay? Because if you're doing all that for him, knowing he's like, this bitch, come pay some of my bills.
Please, that is what my bills, baby. Once
Yes.
again, I want to apologize for any inconvenience that this may have caused you. You were a wonderful, wonderful guest. I would have loved
Thank you.
longer, but I know you gotta go, and I gotta take care of some other stuff. But for sure,
Right.
when we will sit down again and talk. I will be in Atlanta for a week, for a couple of days, for like 8 days,
Okay.
10
Girl,
days.
hit me. I definitely love to take you out for a drink or whatever.
Yeah, I'll be there for 10 days. I was gonna meet up with you guys down there anyways. I was gonna speak to Kevin about it, and go and see what we can do down there. So hopefully I can do an actual interview when like an
Yes. Yes.
stuff like that. You can show me around, and I can vlog that as well for our media outlets as well. So that would be nice and dope as well for us as well. So once again, I want to say thank you so much. You are so beautiful, so talented. You're an inspiration to all young ladies out here, no matter what anybody says. I just got to meet you today, but I felt like we knew each other for quite some time. So whatever you're doing, whatever you're drinking, keep it up, because you look young. And you're just a happy person, and I love that. I love your vibe. I love your energy. Just keep doing what you're doing and continue to be an inspiration, not only to myself, but to your son and to young women. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you.
Thank you. You gonna make a real nigga cry over here.